Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Gadi Schwartz coming to you from Los Angeles. And here's some of the stories we're watching tonight. The idea that TikTok could be banned here in the U.S. seems like a real possibility. We're going to walk you through the president's ultimatum that could make that happen. Plus, the Pentagon releases video of the moment leading up to when a Russian fighter jet collides with a U.S. drone. But will it do anything to ease tensions between the two countries? Then flights to and from Greece were grounded today as workers joined a 24-hour strike that led to fiery crashes with police. And since COVID, the idea of a shorter school week has gained in popularity. But what does that mean for students and families? And we're going to introduce you to a hiker who was stranded on a snowy mountain, then tied his phone to a drone, and he got a message out. It worked. We're going to talk to him in just a bit. TikTok is an app that has had such an impact on American culture, it's difficult to wrap your head around. It's helped disrupt the music industry, social media, advertising, Hollywood, politics. The list goes on, and its user base here in the United States is massive. And that includes a whole bunch of lawmakers. And I know by now we've heard both a Republican president and now a Democrat president saying it could be banned, it should be banned. But is that actually about to happen? That is the threat right now from the Biden administration if the app's Chinese owners refuse to sell their stake. Why? Because the U.S. intelligence community keeps warning that the app could give the Chinese government access to personal data of millions of Americans and increases chances of hacking by China and the spread of misinformation. Now, this all comes down as there has been a widespread crackdown on TikTok, not just here in the United States, but across the world. Here in the U.S., the White House has already issued a TikTok ban on all government-issued devices. More than 20 states have also done the same, as well as a handful of public universities. The U.K., Canada, EU, Taiwan, Belgium, they all have restrictions on the app on government devices too, and India has banned it outright. But despite all of that, if you're on political TikTok, you probably know that a lot of lawmakers across the board use TikTok on the reg. Here's U.S. Representative Jeff Jackson of North Carolina TikToking 3 days ago about this whole banking collapse.
You can be angry at all with this, so long as you know that your deposits at your bank are protected because the full weight of the federal government has decided they will be. You need to hear that, you need to know that it's true, and you need to share that message so that we can make sure this becomes a political debate and not a financial crisis. And for anyone who follows me, I promise to keep you posted.
Now, this video, which was over 2 minutes long, got 3.7 million likes. And some of the comments read, I think we all agree. This is how all representatives, elected representatives, should be addressing and updating their constituents. Another one says, why can't all politicians communicate like this? Thank you. Others use it too, like first Gen Z Congressman Maxwell Frost, who regularly posts TikTok like this, just showing his day-to-day in Congress. There are also lawmakers who were regulars on TikTok but aren't anymore. Rashida Tlaib, John Ossoff, Katie Porter, all of them haven't posted to the app in a while. Now, obviously, this is a fine line that everyone, me included, are trying to walk right now. And since news of this ban was reported, as you can imagine, TikTok has been flooded with takes on all of it. NBC News tech correspondent Jake Ward joins me now. Jake, this threat of banning TikTok has been going on since Trump was president. How is this different? Aren't there some First Amendment freedom of expression concerns here?
Yeah, there certainly are. I mean, right, we are Americans after all, Gadi, right? This is the First Amendment country. I mean, it's the sort of one of the core principles of being an American. And so the idea that we're going to ban a platform outright, especially one that 100 million Americans use, I don't know how we do that, right? We've never really seen that before. The only case I can think of that's in any way comparable was Backpage. Do you remember that platform that was once upon a time banned for, that was for prostitution and sex trafficking. That was for very different stuff. This is simply a case in which there's this sort of nebulous fear that we are handing too much of our, habits and our attention to a company that has a Chinese-owned parent company. That's a whole new thing, right? And so if this were to go forward, it is undoubtedly going to be the case that we would wind up in, some big-time courtroom battles over the First Amendment issues here.
And Jake, we saw these videos from lawmakers using TikTok. It's something that happens every day, and then some lawmakers aren't using it so much anymore. Do you think that all this news has any bearing on how many of the millions of people all around the country are using this app?
You know, it does not seem to be the case in terms of their user growth overall, right? I mean, TikTok remains one of the fastest growing, social media platforms in the history of social media, right? Over the last 10 years, it has accounted for twice the growth of its nearest competitor, and that's YouTube, right? So this thing is just a behemoth. So it's not slowing everyday people down. It is, of course, slowing down for lawmakers simply because I'm sure they don't want to be in the position of being sort of the last lawmaker to use it after all of this has happened. But I think it's important to remember, right, that like the whole premise of TikTok is that anybody can use it and get famous. Instagram is known as sort of a celebrity-focused thing. So it's that sort of, and this is a weird word to use in this context, but the democracy, the democratization of social media, you know, the promise that anybody can make it on TikTok is part of why I think it keeps growing.
Jake, speaking of weird, here's a weird thing to say. I'm a huge fan of your TikToks. The one you posted the other day on psychology of fear, that one moved me like crazy. I'm still thinking about it. You use TikTok yourself quite a bit. I use it as well. There is this take that if you want to alienate people before an election, commit political suicide, be the party that bans TikTok. Do you think there's any validity to that?
I love that question. I'm so interested in that. And thanks for the shout out. Appreciate that. I like yours a great deal too. It's weird, right, to be in this position where we really, you know, I have to say, I just, and this is not sort of editorially objective, but like, I really enjoy TikTok. I find that there's a lot less abuse. People are really, really thoughtful. I get all kinds of curious questions. And yet it's the one Chinese-owned, you know, parent company for platform. So that's weird, right? I don't know what to do with that. And I think that this idea, right, that, you know, I'll be really curious to see whether in the Venn diagram of potential voters and heavy TikTok users, what the middle of that slice looks like. Yeah, if you ban TikTok, do you wind up driving away young voters in some big way? That would be another thing that would be, historically unprecedented. We are really in uncharted territory here, Gadi.
Next time you come back, hopefully we'll have that Venn diagram. Jake, thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Last night, we wondered whether we would ever see video of the Russian jet colliding with a U.S. drone. Well, tonight, we've got it right here, and it is showing something we have never seen before. The U.S. government just declassified this video. You can see a Russian jet coming up from behind. Then you see that. That is the jet releasing fuel as it approaches. There's some sort of glitch in the stream as the jet passes. Then there's a second pass. That jet comes up from behind again, dumping more fuel. And just before it allegedly hit the drone, the feed goes out. Fast forward a few seconds later, it comes back, but the prop is damaged. And that is when the U.S. government says it started wiping the drone of all information before purposefully crashing it into the sea. Joining us now is NBC News Pentagon correspondent Courtney Kube. Courtney, is this some sort of next level passive aggressive thing that Russian jets have been doing to U.S. drones for some time? Like, what kind of authorization would a Russian pilot need to do something like this?
It's not just drones. I mean, there are many cases where there have been what the military calls intercepts between Russian aircraft and U.S. military manned aircraft. In fact, there was one a couple of years ago where a Russian Su-27, very similar to the one that was in the case of this Black Sea incident, came within about 5 feet of a manned U.S. military surveillance aircraft. So these kinds of intercepts are very common, even ones that get a little too close for comfort. What makes this one so different is, number one, what we saw in that video, the aggressive flying, the weaving right near that drone, and then dropping the fuel on it. That's new. That's different, Gadi. In addition to that, the clipping of it, the collision, that is new and different and extremely potentially dangerous. So you asked who would have the permission for it. That's a question that we always have when we have these intercepts, and oftentimes there's a concern it could be some rogue military pilot. We found out now, according to U.S. officials here, that in fact that was not the case, that the highest levels of civilian leadership in the Kremlin not only was aware of this, but approved of this very aggressive action over the Black Sea.
The highest level sounds like very close to Putin.
Exactly. And when we specifically asked whether Putin, the officials we spoke with, would only say that it's the highest levels. So we really don't know exactly how high that goes. But I think everyone knows that in the Russian government, if you're talking about people who are very senior, it's a small group.
And Courtney, what else do we need to take away from this video? I mean, I keep thinking of those shoot downs over U.S. territory, and then those weren't declassified, but we saw this declassified extremely quickly. What's going on there?
So I want to believe it's because the press was pushing so hard to get the video, but the reality is, according to the officials we spoke with here, and we heard from John Kirby over at the White House today, they said that they wanted to prove that their version of events, of what occurred over the Black Sea, was accurate, and the Russians were, in the words of John Kirby, were lying about what they said. So remember, the Russians said that they sent their jets in to check out this drone, that they were not aggressive, that they didn't drop the fuel, and that the drone was actually losing altitude and crashed on its own. They denied that there was any kind of a collision. So the U.S. wanted to prove their version of events here.
Hard to argue with video there. NBC's Courtney Kuby, thanks so much.
Thanks.
And classes might get canceled next week for over 500,000 kids across Los Angeles, and that is because thousands of cafeteria workers, bus drivers, custodians, and other essential workers from the LA Unified School District are going on strike. And in solidarity, thousands of teachers have agreed not to cross the picket line. The union representing the school workers says it's been negotiating with the district for almost a year. They are demanding better pay, more hours, and better treatment.
We're ready to fight. We're tired of the inequity. We're tired of the bull-crap excuses. We're tired of the lies that he told. We're tired of him saying things about us like we don't have a right to fight for what we believe in, to fight for what we deserve.
Now, there's still a chance that this doesn't happen if the district and the union come to an agreement in the next few days. NBC News correspondent Nayela Charles has more.
About 500,000 students stand to be affected by this if the LAUSD and the school workers can't come to a deal. Right now, negotiations are at a standstill. The employee workers union is the one hosting the strike, and the teachers union is with them in solidarity, saying they will not go to school the days of the proposed 3-day strike next week. So those workers are asking for higher pay, benefits, and also more employees. They're asking for about a 30% salary increase right now, the union saying they make about $25,000 a year. Most of them part-time employees, averaging about 25 hours per week. So they say because of that, as it stands, their members have to take second or third jobs just to make ends meet. I did speak to the superintendent for LAUSD, and this is what he says in response to that.
We have a historic offer on the table. That's a 15% increase on compensation, in addition to 10% cash in hand, a dramatic increase in terms of healthcare benefits for part-time workers, and a minimum wage guarantee that exceeds the local minimum wage as well as the state. But look, we have additional resources to put on the table to continue negotiations.
So right now, negotiations at a standstill. The Education Workers Union telling us that they are not willing to budge on the salary increase that they're demanding. But listen, Gadi, right now, this could impact the different conversations we see happening across the country with the national teacher shortage. Right now, teachers and staff have leverage, and they want to use that leverage. So depending on what happens here in LA, that could impact the other things that we see happening across the country. Gadi?
And the fallout from that global banking roller coaster continues tonight, but it looks like there might be some light at the end of the tunnel today. First, U.S. and European markets closed in the green today, a big difference from that all red situation we saw yesterday, all because first, the Swiss banking giant, which looked like it was on very wobbly ground yesterday, came back with some momentum today after announcing it will borrow nearly $50 billion from the Swiss National Bank to basically prevent a collapse. And here in the U.S., a group of major banks like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, PNC, 11 in total, all announced that they would deposit $30 billion in the struggling First Republic Bank to, again, prevent yet another collapse. All of this clearly settling the markets, but we are talking billions of dollars here. So let's break it all down with NBC News business and data reporter Brian Chung. Brian, the market closed strong today, but is it because all these banking giants decided to band together to help a smaller bank out, or things in Switzerland? Or usually banks are in competition, but what's going on here?
Yeah, well, it's a combination of both those things, Gadi. I mean, when we talk about what happened with both of these banks, it essentially is the same thing. Both both of these banks were experiencing a lot of deposit outflows, or if not in bank speak, people taking money outside of the bank. That was happening at Credit Suisse, again, the Zurich-based bank that's pretty far away from here. But what we saw was that the Swiss National Bank, the central bank there, said, we're going to offer you a lifeline, about $50 billion if you want. And Credit Suisse actually said overnight that, yep, we're going to tap that, which allowed the shares of that particular bank to bounce back today. Now, here in the United States, concerns were about First Republic. It's a much smaller but still large by all standards bank that's based out of San Francisco. They were seeing a lot of deposit outflows as well as customers started to fret after Silicon Valley Bank and also Signature Bank went under. And then what happened? 11 big banks got together and said, you know what? If money's going out, we're going to put money back in. They put $30 billion of it in there as of this afternoon. And by the way, a source familiar with the matter tells me that this was all the result of a conversation between Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon, again, the head of the nation's largest bank. Those conversations were had as early as Tuesday, Gadi.
Does this mean that the banking crisis is behind us, or is this just like, you know, that first time that you feel really bad turbulence on a plane and you're not sure if it's going to happen again, but you know you're flying over a thunderstorm?
Yeah, that's actually a really great way to put it. I remember the first time I was in turbulence, it's like, what the heck is going on here? Yeah. But when it comes to what's happening here, a lot of this is very understandably confusing for the average American that's just wondering, what should I do with my deposits? What should I do with the money that I have at my bank in a checking or in a savings account? And what I say is that you have to remember, all deposits are insured up to $250,000 per depositor per bank. Even if the worst case scenario, your bank goes under, you're still promised that amount because of that Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation fund that they have to be able to tap into there. So again, there might be bumps as we continue to see these headlines around the stability of some of these banks, but hopefully that insurance gives people a little bit comfort, maybe the seatbelt, if you will, as you're strapped into that flight.
Brian, thanks so much, man. And still ahead, there is still a lot we don't know about long COVID, but each year we're learning more about those awful lingering symptoms. And later this hour, we've talked about a 4-day work week before, but what about a 4-day school week? A lot of districts across the country are saying goodbye to Mondays. So this week marks 3 years since the world shut down as COVID spread. Can you believe that? It has been 3 years since our lives were turned upside down, and this was our reality. This was our reality. And for some, this was the reality. While COVID might seem like a lifetime ago for some of us, many of us have experienced health problems way beyond the initial infection, and that's known as long COVID. Last year, our senior medical correspondent, Dr. John Torres, spoke with someone who has it. He checked back with her this year and took a look at what we know and what we still don't know about long COVID.
3 years ago, Shamir Smith got sick, and she still hasn't gotten better.
The body pain, the eye issues that won't let up for me, and the memory loss can be quite challenging.
She was diagnosed with long COVID, a name for a collection of health-related problems some people experience after a COVID infection. The numbers can vary, but a recent survey found about 15% of adults in the U.S. have experienced long COVID symptoms.
Long COVID can mean a lot of different things to different people. Most commonly, you'll hear people with long COVID talk about fatigue and energy issues, sleep disturbance, and some people have prolonged breathing trouble as well.
Dr. Jeff Siegelman knows what it's like to live with long COVID because he's suffering from it too.
In August of 2020, I was working in the emergency department. I woke up one morning with a fever and a headache. Now, 2.5 years later, I'm still on a pile of pills. I still can't taste my dinner or a glass of wine.
A recent study found fatigue was the most common long COVID symptom, followed by loss of smell, brain fog, and shortness of breath. Many with long COVID have had to take time away from work. When we spoke with Smith last year, she was on a pause from teaching.
I kept saying, hey, I'll be back in August of 2020. Then it became, I'll be back in January of 2021.
And now?
I actually just was approved for disability retirement from the school system here in Baltimore.
How important was teaching to you?
Teaching was the thing that I felt like I did the best. I went from a black poor girl growing up in Southeast DC to one of the best teachers in Baltimore City. I wouldn't have had it any other way. And because of a stupid virus, I spend most of my time on a couch.
Now, 3 years into the pandemic, we're learning more and more about long COVID.
What causes it seems to be some ongoing abnormalities in the body caused by the virus. There's probably some element of immune problems. There has been evidence of the virus itself persisting. Whether that causes the symptoms, we're not sure yet. And there are all kinds of other hypotheses.
And there's still a lot we don't know.
We don't exactly know how common it is. We don't exactly know who's at most risk of getting long COVID. And we don't yet know the right treatments or even how to prevent it.
Researchers like Dr. Lior Horowitz are looking to answer those questions in studies across the country as part of the National Institutes of Health Recover Initiative. With regulations lifted and emergency declarations set to end in May, it can feel like COVID-19 is over, but those with long COVID are grappling with a new painful reality.
I'm getting married in June, and I'm worried about how am I going to hide these rashes that came up about a year ago and they won't leave.
Now, if you're talking about mental health online, chances are you might have seen some words like gaslighting or trauma pop up on your social feeds. But these mental health buzzwords can sometimes bring more confusion than actual understanding. One study looked at about 500 TikTok videos and found that over 80% of mental health advice on the platform is misleading. Our Savannah Sellers with more.
They're words you've probably heard in posts on your social media feeds. Powerful words some call therapy language, like narcissism or depression, sparking conversations. But experts are concerned some of these posts aren't using these terms correctly.
What are some of the top words you see people using incorrectly when it comes to mental health and psychology?
The top words I would probably say are, of course, gaslighting, but narcissist.
Henry Tournier, a licensed professional counselor, a.k.a. Henry, the Black therapist on TikTok, joined the platform to help set the record straight, explaining the precise definition of these misused terms.
I hope this clarifies a little bit about narcissism, and hopefully we stop misusing that word, because as we use it incorrectly over and over, it starts to lose its meaning.
Take gaslighting. It's defined by the American Psychological Association as, in part, to manipulate another person into doubting his or her perceptions. Or narcissism, excessive self-love or egocentrism. Or depression, extreme sadness or despair that lasts more than days, interfering with daily life. Child and family psychologist Jen Hartstein says misusing these words can create bigger problems.
So we're perpetuating a lot of mental health stigma, which might prevent people from getting help when they really need it.
She's seeing the effects of these, at times, misguided conversations in her patients.
Getting a lot of self-diagnosing of, oh, I listened to this person and they said these symptoms and therefore I have this disorder, which is often incorrect because they're not licensed clinicians.
Researchers say knowing how to express feelings more accurately, especially at a young age, can boost emotional intelligence and help avoid this problem. The Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence developed a program for schools to help both students and adults better understand feelings.
So what's the difference between anxiety and stress and pressure and fear and overwhelm? And what we find is that people just don't know the differences. And so what that means is that we are using words to describe our experiences that might not accurately describe our experiences.
Their program, called Ruler, teaches 5 skills for improving emotional intelligence: recognizing, understanding, labeling, expressing, and regulating emotions.
What we argue is that emotional intelligence, in collaboration with general cognitive ability, produces the best outcomes.
And he says using language accurately is a key tool to achieving that better outcome.
When you have language to describe your inner experiences, right, you can communicate better, you can get your needs met, and importantly, you can develop the strategies that work best to help you deal with your feelings.
And whether it's in school or on social media, having access to the right resources is critical. Henry's hoping to do his part.
My mission is to just spread awareness and correct information, and to just encourage people to really look at mental health as not just this trend or this gimmick, but as something that is really impactful and is a true science in the world.
Savannah Sellers, NBC News.
We thank Savannah for that report. And you can catch her Teens Under Pressure mental health and social media special right here on NBC News Now. It airs at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. And a quick shout out to an incredible op-ed Savannah published today in Teen Vogue on all of this. It is such an unforgettable piece. If you get a sec, please give it a read. After the break, what would you do if you were stranded in the wilderness with zero cell phone service and you also had a drone with you? One very cold hiker got really creative with his drone and it saved his life. He's here to share his story. But before that, you got to see this. 2 SEALs have been spending some time in rehab in Maine, but now they are both healthy enough to head back into the wild. And this is it. This is the moment of truth. There they go, bouncing back home. Be right back. It's time now for some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. Today, thousands of Greek workers walked off the job for a 24-hour strike over that train crash that killed 57 people last month. Crashes broke out with police who responded with tear gas. The strike even grounded flights in and out of the country. In 2021, the U.S. had one of the worst maternal death rates in the country's history. A new CDC report found a 40% increase from the previous year, and a lot of experts are blaming COVID for that spike. And a large amount of California's Central Valley is no longer in a drought after being hammered with rain and snow. You can see how drought conditions have changed in these maps from a couple of days ago to back in September. And plastic rocks have been found on a remote Brazilian island that is home to green turtles, and it is terrifying geologists. The plastic is mainly coming from fishing nets dragged by the ocean's currents to the beach. When the temperatures rise, the plastic melts, embedding it into the beach's natural material. And one New York scientist has made a huge dinosaur discovery. Through fossil analysis, he found that this dinosaur had a neck that is nearly 50 feet long. To get an idea, that is longer than a school bus. And you gotta bet that moving around those fossils must have been a pain in the neck. All right, this next story is wild. The feds have busted an alleged jewelry theft ring in San Diego. 6 people, all Romanian nationals, are facing federal charges, and authorities say they have seized millions in cars, cash, gold, like actual gold bars gold. And check this out. Romanian law enforcement was recording themselves confiscating luxury cars from those alleged criminals. Our friends at NBC's San Diego have more on this insane story.
NBC7 obtained video of Romanian law enforcement confiscating luxury cars from the defendants worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Investigators say they were purchased in California, then transported to their homes. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in jewelry sold at pawn shops, then the money used to buy gold bars, were also part of the alleged money laundering that lined their pockets and fueled the criminal enterprise.
It's jewelry that has been laundered into gold, into vehicles, and shipped over to Romania.
In the complaint released by Assistant U.S. Attorney Jessica Adeline Schulberg, the list of confiscated items include a 2019 Lamborghini Urus worth $260,000, a 2020 Ferrari Portofino worth $230,000, $120,000 in stolen jewelry, watches, cash, and California COVID relief funds, $735,000 worth of gold bars and coins, and $25,000 in cash transfers from the U.S. Schulberg says a complaint filed in federal court 2 weeks ago identifies Romanian national Constantin Sandu as the mastermind behind the Vulture crime ring. The complaint charges him with stealing $5 million of California unemployment insurance benefits. The assistant U.S. attorney says Edward Giachel was head of a subgroup in Sandu's organization. Among its members, Giachel's wife, Flora, their sons Marius and Gabriel, Gabriel's wife Larissa, and Marius' girlfriend, Argentina Alexandru. All 6 are charged in the complaint, but only 2 are incarcerated in the U.S.
These are the main players. So I think in terms of the GHLs, this is a very, very heavy hit to them.
According to the complaint, they're accused of mail and wire fraud, also several felony robbery counts.
Sometimes they would actually use force, but most of the time what they would do is go up to people and offer to sell some sort of fake jewelry and put it on them, and then they would steal their real jewelry.
The complaint indicates the accused used refugee status to stay in the U.S. If apprehended by United States authorities, members of the Vulture crime ring applied for and were often granted asylum status to enter the United States. Upon entrance into the United States, members of the organization were responsible for generating as much income as possible through theft, begging, and other financial crimes.
Our office is proud to hold these people accountable for targeting elderly and Asian communities in San Diego.
Edward and his wife are in custody and due in court Friday for a bond hearing. The other four, who are believed to be in Romania, have federal warrants for their arrest. In the newsroom, Dave Summers, NBC 7.
Thanks, Dave. And we've got an update tonight to an NBC News investigation into claims of discrimination within the Department of Veteran Affairs, specifically on the way disability benefits were being paid out at a much lower rate for many black veterans over white veterans. And just now, because of a new lawsuit, new documents have been released dating back to 2017 that one veterans nonprofit group says prove that the VA knew that there was a problem with black veterans getting denied their PTSD disability claims. Here to discuss this is NBC's Philadelphia anchor, Lucy Bustamante. Lucy, what did you find looking through these VA documents?
Gadi, good to see you again. So here's the situation. This document here, it's called the 2017 PTSD Grant Rate Analysis. This is a document that veteran service groups have been asking for years. And the VA, through the years, has consistently denied, this is what they tell us, that this even existed. So the fact that this document was discovered only through litigation is a very big deal. So why didn't they want to release those numbers? That's an entire conversation, but we're going to get into the actual disparity that was discovered in this report that they say has never been publicly released until now. So it says that only 43% had claims approved in comparison to the national average. That's the number for black veterans getting claims approved for PTSD. White veterans were approved at a percentage of 57%, 2% higher than the national average. So once again, this was discovered through the Yale Veterans Legal Services Clinic. This is their report. This is their FOIA that they filed in their lawsuit. And this document, Gadi, was only discovered because of that litigation. So we obviously asked the VA about this. They have yet to comment on this exact report. They haven't told us if it's confirmed that this has never been publicly seen, but we're still waiting to hear from them on this.
So not just the discrepancy, but the denial of the existence of that document. I know you've been speaking to former VA employees about this report. What's been their reaction?
They're relieved to see the numbers, Gadi. They say that they knew that the VA had access to this. They were disturbed that in years prior that it wasn't an easy answer when they would ask for disparity information on these claims getting granted. And that's different from what the VA does publish, Gadi, because you can find for veterans who have been approved the makeup of those people and what they've been approved for and who they are. You can't find the makeup for those who have been denied. So there was one veteran and actually a VA worker who we spoke to. She used to be in charge of the Center for Women Veterans. Her name is Kayla Williams, and our entire team of NBC News journalists have been working on this. And one of our journalists, Noreen O'Donnell, actually found an article that she wrote online talking about seeing these numbers for the first time and how important it is. You're going to hear from Kayla saying that she had a much easier time helping female veterans because she had access to how many there were and what help they needed, which was completely different from her counterpart who was in charge of the Center for Minority Veterans. Listen to this.
I know that it was a source of ongoing and deep frustration for my counterpart at the Center for Minority Veterans that, I was able to access data that she couldn't access, that she would get questions at town halls from veterans saying, I think there's a disparity. And she had no answers. She could not answer their questions about whether or not it existed.
And so, Gadi, Kayla says, this was a huge frustration for them because she wanted her counterpart to be successful in the programs that they could offer at the VA. And she felt that not having this information prevented them from doing that. And then just anecdotally, veterans who through the years, Gadi Shaban, our lead investigator at our station in San Francisco, Tracy Wilkins at our station in D.C., Laura Strickler at NBCNews.com, they've all been talking to veterans who have been denied their claims, Black veterans who suspect it's because of either implicit bias or racism that they've experienced in the process. So they feel this is one step closer to getting something that went wrong corrected. And so we'll see what happens. The VA has told us, Gadi, that they will be the administration that corrects the sins of the past. They are determined to be more transparent with this. They said that they are gathering this information for us, but they told Laura Strickler that they're not sure as to when they will be able to hand it over to us. So we're working on it. We'll bring it to you as soon as we get it from them.
Lucy Bustamante with a story that just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Thanks so much for staying on such an important story. And who doesn't love a drone beauty shot, right? For an avid hiker or photographer in Oregon, his drone helps him capture stunning landscapes in the Pacific Northwest. Inspiring, impressive, right? Well, that drone took an entirely new function as a literal lifesaver in late January. After getting his truck stuck in the snow on a remote Oregon mountain with no service, Casey Ryan tells the Washington Post that he tied his iPhone to that same drone. You see it right there, then flew it high enough to somehow miraculously find a cell phone signal, and it worked. Casey's text to his wife eventually went through. There it is, quote, sending my phone in the sky with my drone. Hope to get the message through. 24 hours later, help finally arrived. Casey, his friends and dog, as well as some other stranded drivers, were towed out by the local sheriff's office. And with us now is the man of the hour, Casey Ryan. First, I got to ask, Casey, what was your wife's response when she got that text? What did she text you back, and how much trouble did you get in?
Well, she was pretty concerned for sure. The first initial response was, I'm calling 911 immediately. I told her, just wait a minute. Let's see if there's any tow options. But no, she was definitely pretty worried and seemed to definitely be concerned that I've got myself into this for sure.
Well, Casey, hold on. So this was a conversation. This wasn't just one message, send help. This was a conversation, like the drone went up, sent it, then you dropped the drone, you read it, then you sent the drone back up with the response. Is that right?
Yeah, there was about 3 flights altogether. The last flight, actually, the drone fell out of the sky and almost didn't survive, but somehow I got it to land in the snow. But yeah, there was a little back and forth, and finally at about midnight, she decided it was time to call it and get a hold of the authorities. So she was in Africa at the time, and it was a text bounce around the world, but she was able to bounce it back to this side and get the right call in, thank God.
Wait, she was in Africa on top of all this? Your battery's dying, you're in the middle of the night, like things are cold. That's insane. I know that you recorded a demonstration of how this worked, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we ended up trying a couple different things. We tried to tie the phone to the drone on the top originally, and then we realized that it wasn't going to take off. So we eventually ended up coming up with a contraption where we just tied the phone up with some paracord, some tape, and a little paper towel there. And as long as you take the weight of the phone off before you launch it, it seemed to work pretty good. So we were able to get it up in the sky and let it hover for a minute, and we got the message out. Thank you so much to Lane County. They're the best, for sure.
Yeah, were the people around you, did they think that this was going to work, or did they think like, nah, you're just wasting your time, we should just be hitting the trail or trying to find one?
Well, we had exhausted all of our other tech options. We had tried some walkie-talkies and a CB radio, and the next try was to call 911. That didn't work, so that's when we realized the last tech option was the drone before hiking out 30 miles or 5 miles up a mountain in waist-deep snow, which didn't sound too fun for sure.
It doesn't sound fun, but then we're showing video of you with the Jeeps and the drones, and my wife is going to be like, no, you're not hanging out with Casey Ryan. You're not going to the Pacific Northwest. You and I need to stay very, very far apart from each other. Casey Ryan, thanks so much for that incredible story, brother.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for having me on.
You too, man. And up next, the future of everything. Whether you're the father of the bride, best man, or maid of honor, writing wedding toasts is one of the most personal things you could ever craft up, or at least that's what we thought. Enter AI. Can you tell the difference between what's written by a loved one and what's whipped up by a robot? That's ahead, so stay tuned. AI and ChatGPT are such rapidly evolving technologies. It's already writing everything from essays to news articles to poetry to wedding speeches. Because what says I love you more than a heartfelt speech written by a robot, right? I know what you're thinking right now, but just hear them out for a second. What if it's your sister's big day and you need to give a speech, but the speeches are totally not your thing? So maybe an AI-generated first draft is exactly the jumpstart you need? Well, that's the pitch that Ben Hart makes. Joining us now is Ben Hart, who is set out to do just that. His company, ToastWiz, generates wedding speeches using OpenAI's ChatGPT technology. First off, why are you diving headfirst into one of the most awkward parts of weddings willingly?
It's a great question. Thanks for having me. Yeah, a few years ago, I had to give a speech at my mom's wedding, and I was so nervous to do it that I didn't prepare at all. So I got up to the microphone and just totally blanked, you know, one of those terrible speeches. I handed the microphone back afterward, and then I thought, you know, wow, that was really embarrassing. I wish I hadn't gone that way, and I felt badly. You know, I wanted to do better for my mom. And then this AI technology came out, and I thought, you know, is there a way that I could help people tell their stories and maybe not experience the same thing that I experienced?
So how does it work? Who is this for? Who's your target market here?
Yeah, exactly. So it's for anyone who needs to give a speech at a wedding. Think best men, maids of honor, father of the bride. The way it works is there's a form where you answer questions about the couple. So things like their name, how you met them. But really the key of it is the personal stories. And so you fill out things like, what was a time that wasn't fun in the moment, but it was fun to look back on? And so after you fill out that form, you pay $30 and you get 3 wedding speech drafts. And the reason that we give 3 is basically you can pick and choose what you like from each of them to create your personal wedding speech.
All right, Ben, so you got me in the romantic mood. We actually put this to the test, played around with your tool. My wife and I, we actually eloped. I did not have a best man at my wedding, so I thought it would be fun to make an AI my best man. So I filled it out, and I haven't seen the results. Actually, I've got them right here. My producer just sent this to me. And your Mr. ToastWiz robot says, as someone who has been married for a while, I want to offer some marriage advice to the happy couple. Beware of the screens. Spend as much time living in the moment with each other. Life is too short and love is too precious to waste on screens. Gadi and Kimmy, you both are great. I love you both. I mean, I put some of that in the prompt when I was writing it. I didn't know that your robot was married. As someone who's been married for a while, is that normal? Is that just one of the drafts?
Yeah, so it really depends on what the person puts into the form itself. Sometimes it'll say things that are minorly inaccurate, like that. But in general, the essence of the wedding speeches themselves are going to be for the, and about the personal stories that you put into the form. And that's really what we focus on, because at the end of the day, what makes a great wedding speech is really the personal stories that people tell and those feelings and memories that they share, right? And so that's really the focus of what we're trying to do.
Ben, so great to meet you. This is, I guess you would say this is your love language. Tapping into AI to help people out, huh?
Yeah, indeed. You know, just try to help people.
Ben Hart of ToastWiz, thanks so much.
Thanks.
And to parents watching right now, listen up. I want you to think about this scenario because your kids might be facing it one day. It's a 4-day school week. Schools have been experimenting with a shortened school week even before COVID. We're talking about more than 650 districts in dozens of states all across the country. And now that number has only grown. LX News storyteller Peter Hull takes a look at the pros and the cons of the 4-day school week.
There are more than 14,000 public school districts in the U.S., and for most of them, students are in class 5 days a week. Most. Before COVID, more than 650 districts in 24 states adopted a 4-day school week. That's more than 1,600 schools offering 3-day weekends. 3 years later, that number's grown. And though the shorter week can help recruit teachers and save some money, the effect on students' grades is less certain. Schools on a 4-day week don't just cancel Friday classes. Some districts make each school day about an hour longer to make up the time lost. On average, kids on a 4-day schedule spend 32 more days at home than kids on a 5-day schedule. But what's the research say about grades? Almost all research papers conclude the impact on grades is inconsistent. A 2015 study found that more 4th and 5th grade students perform better at reading and math after switching to a shorter week. Over a 10-year period, the average number of kids scoring proficient or advanced in 5th grade math improved following the switch. And by year 2, more 4th graders scored proficient or better in reading. A 2021 analysis of 12 states with districts on 4-day school weeks found student performance depends on the length of the school day. Researchers said shorter days were extremely problematic for academic achievement, but longer school days might offset any negative impact resulting from switching to a 4-day week. One of the most common reasons districts switch to a shorter week is to attract teachers. The average salary for an elementary school teacher in 2021 was around $67,000. On average, that's less than you'd make driving a trolley. No disrespect to trolley drivers. The Economic Policy Institute says 3 out of 5 teachers work a second job during the school year, and the need to moonlight makes teaching a less attractive career option. Aside from pay, teaching's also stressful. A 2022 survey by the RAND Corporation says 35% of working adults experience frequent job-related stress, but for teachers, that jumps to 73%. So it makes sense that offering a 3-day weekend could attract teachers, especially in rural districts that lack the amenities and opportunities available in cities. Other reasons for switching to shorter school weeks, all backed by research, include saving on weekly costs ranging from electricity to bus drivers, a 39% reduction in bullying incidents, and improved staff morale. Negative effects noted in research include resistance from parents, mostly by parents of younger students. Parents with older kids weren't as opposed to the 4-day school week, and food insecurity for kids in low-income households. Bottom line, we just don't know enough yet to determine if 4-day school weeks are the way to go. It's hard to compare student performance across states with different academic standards and varying economic factors. One district in Madison, Wisconsin's hedging their bets, trying a hybrid 4-day school week that's just for teachers. Students still come to school for 5 days. They'll just have a different teacher one of those days. Administrators there say they hope to improve teacher morale without reducing instructional time. One more thing to consider. The U.S. spends roughly $760 billion a year on public education, and that might sound like a lot. But that's just 4.9% of our country's GDP. Most highly developed countries spend 5.5% or more on education.
And that was Peter Hull with LX News. When it comes to most sports, you don't normally train with your opponent. But for Ukrainian and American skiers, the war has brought both teams together. That story's coming up.
This is our battlefield. This is our job. For us, no. Especially we represent our country.
And finally, we have a story on friendship and fierce competition around one of the most jaw-dropping Olympic sports. It's all about freestyle aerial skiing. That's where people fly off those massive jumps and perform gravity-defying flips and tricks. And at this year's World Championship, Team USA faced off against a group who trained right alongside them, Team Ukraine. NBC nightly news anchor Lester Holt has their story.
For Ukraine's aerial skiing team, moves like this feel like freedom.
All your feelings disappear.
The athletes flip, twist, and fly, landing gravity-defying tricks in one of winter's most awe-inspiring sports. Last February, Alexander Abramenko won his second Olympic medal. Days later, Russia invaded his country.
I forgot about my silver medal immediately after war starts.
Unable to ski in Ukraine,
What's up, brother? Hi, how you doing?
Park City, Utah became their temporary home, training alongside the U.S. team.
Just knowing how meaningful being able to continue to compete and represent their country is to them, any way that we can help is, it's uplifting for our team as well.
The Ukrainian skiers have done their best to settle in, training, relaxing, and enjoying American food.
My favorite one is Panda Express.
But home can feel far.
Yulia принесла.
Abramenko's wife and children live in Kyiv. He FaceTimes them twice a day. His son loves cars.
He asked me to bring a new one from United States.
Out on the slopes, the team is fueled by an unwavering pride for their country.
This is our battlefield. This is our job. For us, no. Especially we represent our country.
Hopeful one day their country will see peace.
We are counting days until we will come back home. We have just one home, and this is Ukraine.
And here's hoping. NBC's Lester Holt, thanks so much. That does it for us tonight. I'm Gadi Schwartz. We're going to see you back tomorrow. But until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.